You do all kinds of things, which I do want to dig into towards the end, man. But again, thanks for jumping on. And I want to start with like how you got into rollerblading, because you were an absolute ripper on rollerblades back in the day. So how'd you actually get into rollerblading?
Oh, I appreciate that. How did I get into it? Oh yeah. Well, I talk about it in the book Pro Soper, but honestly, it was I was coming home from football practice and I saw this guy and he was just like he was dressed in all black and he had these cool like Oakley shades and he jumped up onto a picnic table and did a 360. Mm-hmm. And I had never seen anyone really do tricks in rollerblades at the time. So I was like, holy, like I gotta get some skates. And after that, you know, I didn't know anything about aggressive inline skating, grinding. I didn't find that out for like another month or so. I was just like, I just had to jump up onto a picnic table and do a 360. But that led me into meeting other skaters who, like, I would see them grinding and I was like, dude, I have to do that. And then from there, it just kind of, you know, turned into a thing.
Sure. So then how did you, or what was your first pair of skates and how'd you get them?
I got Rollerblade Lightning. Yeah. This was in 1996. I got that from my mom. Oh, excuse me. I'm over here at the Paris,
nice, dude.
Practicing my French today. Should we take a walk on Las Vegas Boulevard?
Yeah, let's do it, man. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. You know.
Give us a tour. So,
which way you want to go, left or right?
Let's go right.
Am I right?
You're right.
All right, we'll head it this way.
Perfect. Okay, so man, seriously, you know, you were an absolute killer. We were watching a lot of your content here on Rollerblades, and for the time, dude, you were, from what a lot of us can tell, you were doing like high level tricks for the time. At what point did you realize you wanted to go in on soaping and kind of not rollerblading, or what did that transition sort of look like?
Okay, so when I was getting into rollerblading, like the first rollerblading videos I got was VG3 and VG4, okay, and then I got like the Hoax 3. So this was that era. And I just watched those like religiously, meticulously, just like diving into it, you know, and breaking it all down and going like, okay, I have to learn all these tricks, all these different variations. Like at the time, you know, I didn't know what a unity was. I just called it a cross-legged gun.
Right.
You know, I wasn't, right. I wasn't like into I didn't know any like the professionals at the time. And so I just did like, I would go out and practice every fucking day. And, you know, I'd start with stalls. I would see the pros when out and about when I would like, go to Venice Beach, and I would notice that their skates were really ground down. And this guy, Daniel Hendershot, he was sponsored by Team Paradise, and he was like, yeah, you have to have a groove, otherwise your blade isn't gonna like, you know, lock into the rail. So like, yeah, because you had to like grind down so you could lock in to the rail. And when it was grooved down into the boot, and you know, and when you're riding like on a Royale and you're all the way down on the boot, yep, then it would slow down the rail so you could actually stick the trick. And once I figured out that trick, then I was able to do those like bigger rails, you know, 30-step handrails, the Royal, fish brains. And once I saw the soaps, like then I said, wait a minute, like I had been rollerblading at that time for like, I don't know, over a year. And, you know, there were so many pros that were so far ahead of me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it would take like another 5 years to get to their level. And then this was later around the time with like Elements 1. What else? Mm-hmm. Trying to think of some other skate video name. But anyway, this was closer to like the end of 97, like December of 97. Yep. And so when I saw the soaps, I was like, wait a minute. So if I get these shoes, I would be one of the pioneers, one of the originals. And if I put everything into it, I could be the best soaper in the world and maybe, you know, make it big. And so I applied the same techniques that I used in rollerblading, like getting a groove. Because at the time, the people that, you know, had soaps, they didn't really know about that technique. Right. And that's how I was able to grind down the big rails. And at first I ground down the shoes and then I put duct tape on the edges. So I would be able to jump up like a unity position and almost stick on the rail, mm-hmm, and then just be able to slide down it slow and controlled. And so I made a sponsor video, I sent it into soap and I got signed. And then it just kind of went on from there.
Got it. Okay. Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of what I suspected, but that checks out perfectly. So then you went on to become, I think, arguably the biggest name in soaping. Is that right? Beautiful view, by the way, there.
Okay. Yeah. It's nice and quiet right now. I was just going out, having a cup of coffee, and
just living the life, man. Just living the life. So, so you went on to become, you know, arguably, at least from what I understand, like the largest name in soaping. Is that fair to say?
I believe so. I think definitely in this day and age too with social media. At the time, I had the biggest rep because I think you heard in that part of the story where that guy came, he showed up from Canada and he basically like made a fan website, and that ended up getting more traffic. That his website was soapshoe.com, and the actual site was soapshoes.com, and I think he ended up getting more traffic than it.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's kind of what blew my name up. And then we made this. There was this other company, Relate Video Productions, which was made by Brendan Smith and Danny Lynch and Paul Cifuentes, other guys on the soap team. And so they made a video called One that I was in, and then they made a second video called Two. And they used to play those on the website, and then he would sell it on VHS. And anyway, back in the 90s, it was a lot harder to kind of build a rep, you know. So it always stayed underground, but that's kind of just how it blew up.
At what point was there some definitive point where you knew that, hey, I've made it? Was there some like event or something that transpired where you're like, holy shit, like this soaping thing, like I basically made it in soaping? Does that make sense?
I feel like on the Relate videos too, I don't know if you've seen it, I can send you a link, but the guy Brendan, he put my section at the end of it because they wanted to be like the best kept secret, like how the way that Dustin Latimer has that secret section on I think the Medium video.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he put mine at the end, and he went on Photoshop and he made put my name in like animated flames. When that went out on his site, I think it got like, I don't know how many views it got. It got a shit ton of views. And then it had me grinding that big, huge rail. That image ended up getting kind of viral, semi-viral, for the day. And then I kind of felt like, yeah, dude, I did it. Like I went, and like I said, at the end of the Soap or Die video, I was like, when it all started, all I wanted to do is jump up and 360 off of a picnic table. And I went all the way to like this stuff, like riding big ass rails. Like, so it was beyond anything that I had imagined at the time. And I think that's pretty cool. And even today, like over 20 years later, it's still making me money. It's still helping me to get girls. It helps me get social media fame, like popularity. And I'm still working on new stuff to take it to the next level.
Oh, well, can you share with us what new stuff you're working on?
Well, currently, so the Pro Soaper book, it came out in like 2012. So I'm using AI technology to update the pictures and digitally restore them, enhance them, and enlarge them. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to release a 10-year anniversary edition for Pro Soaper that's going to be all in color. All the pictures are going to be much clearer.
Did you ever have any like really serious injuries from soaping and or rollerblading that really made you question the route you were taking or anything like that?
I would say I broke, my ankle, dislocated my finger. I've got some, if you type in, I think soap shoes fails or epic fails.
I saw the thumbnail with your fingers pointed sideways. Yeah.
It was just dislocated, but I fractured 20 teeth. There was one time when in rollerblading, I jumped onto Unity, a handrail, and I got stuck to it and got flung forward, like down a 10 step, and landed right on my chin, and it ended up like fracturing 10 of my teeth. And then I did it again like a year later. And
oof.
So yeah.
Same trick and everything? Unity?
I think the second one, I was trying to Unity the 2020 at Uni High School. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm sure I'd recognize it. I think I would recognize it. So where are you from originally, Ryan?
The town is called El Segundo in Los Angeles.
Got it. Okay. So you were right in the thick of it. Do you think that played a major role in the trajectory of your career, where you grew up and who you were around?
Well, absolutely, because all of the major skate spots that we used to go to, like Redondo Beach, Manhattan Beach, Maricosta, Ocean Park Rails, Venice Beach Boardwalk, back when there was that iconic pit. You remember that thing? You've probably seen it with all the graffiti.
I'm sure I've seen it. Yeah.
So going down there and skating every weekend, because all these places, downtown Los Angeles, everything like Pershing Square, everything was right. You know, El Segundo is right by the LAX airport, so it's right there next to Los Angeles. And having, I think it's a lot different than having to grow up in, I don't know, North Dakota where it snows and you can only skate or like part-time out of the year. I think, what was that? It was one of the later VGs. I remember Eric Burke was saying something. He's like, yeah, I live in Reno, so I can only skate 6 months out of the year because the other 6 months it's snowing. So he's like, we skate half the year and then we snowboard the other half the year.
Was there any most memorable moment in your soaping career that you look back on and just sort of reflect on? Something that was like maybe a comp, or maybe something that happened that really defined, or something you look back on as like a moment in time that you really enjoyed or loved.
Parties, girls, going on tour, being on TV. Oh, so actually, when you talk like pivotal moments, the moment that we realized that we made it, I was with my best friend at the time, Danny Lynch, and we were walking down 3rd Street Promenade in Santa Monica. And it's kind of like a place where there's little shops and stuff like that. And there was a Journeys shoe store. And as we were walking by, I talk about this in the book. It's somewhere in the middle of it, but we saw a TV in the Journeys with a soap shoe rack, and our video, our commercial, the soap shoes commercial, was playing on it. And as we're walking, we stop and we're like, dude, that's us. Like, we're on TV. Like, we fucking made it. And we walk into the Journey shop, and the guy's like, oh shit, that's you guys. You guys did that. You did that big ass rail. And like, that was just like, it was sick, dude.
I mean, did you kind of have that sort of celebrity, sort of, I guess, for lack of a better word, status, where did people recognize you a lot of the places you would go, or what did that look like?
No, nothing like that. I mean, I wish, but it was more like being kind of like known that I was sponsored for that and my school, and people knew that I was getting paid because they were giving us like $200 an hour to do a photo shoot or a video shoot. Now, we only worked like 2 days a month. You know, they would be like, okay, like in 2 weeks, we're going to film a video, you know, for 5 hours and give you guys $1,000. But then the next shoot wouldn't be for like another 2 weeks or another month. So it's not like I made enough money to live on. But when you're 17 years old, you're a junior in high school, and you're getting, you know, free shoes, free clothes. People know you're sponsored. Like it attracts a good positive attention. Girls are like, you know, like I think as I said in the Soap or Die video, when I first saw those skates, I was like, man, I'm gonna be doing 360s everywhere. Girls are probably gonna be trying to ask me to go to the prom. Like once I got sponsored, and then it was like people were like, oh, that's Ryan Johnson. He's that pro rollerblade or pro soaper or whatever. Oh, he's got those shoes that slide. And, you know, it would be just, girls would come up and start asking questions. And then I'd be like, yeah, let's go kick it. Let's go get a hamburger. And it would improve my dating life. So, and then money, you know, having not a lot of 17-year-old kids have a lot of extra cash. And I had 2 full-time jobs at the time. I worked at an ice cream store and a tanning salon. But then I had the soaping, which would bring in like an extra $1,000, $2,000 a month.
Nice.
So, you know, it's just good for being 17.
Yeah, no doubt. So at some point, I don't know all the details specifically, but at some point there was a big falling out. Was it the owner of Soap basically screwed you over, is how I interpret it? Can you elaborate on that a little bit? I know you talk about it in the book, but...
Yeah, so there's some good video of him. This other guy did a documentary called Lords of Soaptown, and the owner, Chris Morris, he was the CEO. And there's some good shots of him in his mansion or whatever. And so this guy was like, I guess he worked for Rollerblade. And what he did is he just was like, oh, I'm going to make some shoes. And he wasn't really a skater. Like, he didn't really seem to have love for the skating community. Yeah, it was more just like, I want to make a product. I want to make a bunch of money. I'm going to hire these kids and give them like, I'll give them $1,000 so they'll feel special. And then I'll use their names and their images and for my commercials to make $20 million off soap. Anyway, so he made $20 million, and then basically he just like sold the company to Healy's, bought a big ass mansion, and I got fired beforehand, but by 2001 when he sold the company, you know, everybody else basically got let go of. And I was really pissed off at the time, and I made that video where I was yelling at him at the end, and I was really heated. Now, obviously 20 years later, I like to say it's just soapy water under the bridge. You know what I mean? It's not a thing anymore. Everything I think worked out fine. And actually that video is the guys who are the filmmakers who made Soap or Die, they ended up finding that, I guess, on my MySpace. They were like, hey, what happened to Soap Shoes? And that video came up, and they ended up getting my number. And next thing you know, they came out to Vegas and filmed that movie, and now it's got almost 1 million views. So like, you know, it's all good now.
Okay, so then at some point, if I'm not mistaken, I appreciate you stopping. I really do want to appreciate you stopping and giving us some views here. It's very much appreciated. So at some point, you joined the Navy. Is that right?
Yeah, I got my girlfriend pregnant, and that was after I got fired from Soap. And so I worked at Guitar Center for a while because I was trying to be a rapper, and then I got fired from Guitar Center. And then I went back and I stole a mixer from Guitar Center, and I got caught and I got thrown in jail for like a week. And after that, it was kind of like I was kind of like at rock bottom at that point.
Yep.
I was on a lot of drugs, and I was living. I had moved out with my girlfriend. We broke up. I moved back in. I was living with my mom. Now I was like 21 years old, and so I was like, all right, like something has to change. So I joined the Navy in the hopes of basically saying, like, okay, the Navy's going to pay for my school. They're going to give me $40,000 for my GI Bill, and I can go to the Musicians Institute and get my degree in recording engineering, and then own my own studio, or like at least work in a studio. And that's how that happened. I did the Navy, and then I did college, and then I ended up in England. I got kicked out of England, and I ended up in Las Vegas. But I ended up using that degree and got my dream job out here. And so I do like production for special events and theatrical engineer and things like that. And then I have my dating coaching business. So
yeah, there's one thing I've been over the last, I don't know, week and a half, I've been really, for lack of a better word, creeping on a lot of your content here. And there doesn't seem to be anything you're unwilling to do, basically. I saw a comment that basically, like, that voice that talks people out of things doesn't exist with you. You do so many different things. So I want to dig into the entrepreneur. So we have lifestyle, dating, success coach, influencer, creative athlete, and entrepreneur. So I want to dig into the entrepreneurial part and sort of like dig into that.
So I'd say like, so at the entrepreneur is just kind of like a guy who does his own thing on his own path and focusing on his own careers and goals, really. And so that could be a lot of different things. Someone who trades, who hangs out at Starbucks and trades crypto, or goes on the Robinhood app, you're doing stocks and bonds. Or you could do it like I'm doing it, where I'm creating like multiple sources of income, like writing books, making merch, and just basically being in business for myself. Primarily, it's like being in business as a lifestyle dating success coach. So that's where guys pay me money, and I'm like a consultant, kind of like a Will Smith, what's that movie, Hitch? But I like to say it's much more aggressive, because that was kind of like a Hollywood movie, and in real life, when guys are paying me for dating coaching, I have a structured plan that I give them, like scripts for them to memorize, and then a whole procedure of how to basically approach women. I show them exactly what to say to them in order to create attraction, in order to get a phone number, in order to get a date. And then I teach them like what to do on a date in order to get the girl back to the house. And then I teach them after the sex how to make the girl their girlfriend or their wife, or if they just want to, have a better sex life, then I show guys how to basically just kind of ghost the girl, soft ghost them in a nice way, and move on to the next target.
So Target is the real stomping grounds then. Oh no, I'm sorry. I was thinking Target, like literally the store Target. So, you were featured on, is it H3H3? Is that right?
Yeah. He made a good little meme video. It's pretty fucking hilarious, and has like almost 8 million views now, I think.
Yeah, it's that's sort of what I saw. There's at least this one I'm looking at on screen is 2.6. It was 6 years ago. So you're admittedly, you can be a pretty polarizing guy. Just going through your comments, I see, there's a lot of people that support you, but there's also plenty of people that, I guess for lack of a better word, just don't. So there's been a lot of, just in my research here for this interview, I've seen quite a few like big channels or big, influencers, whatever it is, like feature your content on their show, and oftentimes they're like memeing it, or oftentimes they're like maybe poking fun or whatever. So my question for you is, let's ignore the content itself necessarily. How do you deal with some pretty large influencers, whatever, basically poking fun and keeping your head held high over all these years, if that makes sense, of some of those quote unquote haters, if you want to call them that? Well,
as an entrepreneur, you have to remember that this is social media, and the goal is to get more views, get more eyes on you, so that you can make more sales, sell more. For me, it's selling more books, more merch, whatever. So all press is good press. A lot of people will say, oh, H3 didn't put you in a very good light. But that doesn't matter, because his audience is not the people that are going to pay me $2,000 for a day of coaching. But being able to meet a guy, let's say, who's financially stable, who's looking for dating coaching and wants to improve his life, just showing him the thumbnail that says, I was featured on something that has 8 million views, gives me instant authority, credibility, authenticity. He's not going to sit there and watch, a video of H3 of some guy, memeing on me. He's just going to be like, okay, this guy's legit, pull out his credit card and send me money to my PayPal, and I can sell a product. So at the end of the day, like all that negative press is still going to get you like paid, You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
And laid, because like literally like I met girls and they're like, oh, you're a dating coach, and then I could just type in my name on YouTube and they'll see all these views and they're like, oh shit, he's like legit, he's real, without actually them like the content that you're showing right now where we're goofing around at Whole Foods. It's like that's all staged, and like it's just supposed to be a goofy video to entertain his audience, which is mostly like, you know, I don't know, middle school kids, high school kids. You know what I mean? They're not the people that are gonna buy coaching, but it's gonna help get the name out, the brand out.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. Okay, so you've built quite a career around. You know, I've seen you've put out a number of books on like, you know, lifestyle. You know, just general success. When did you kind of discover that you wanted to get into basically consulting, success coaching, dating coaching? Was there a pivotal moment where you were like, hey, I need to lean into this and start trying to help people and make money from it?
That all came basically on accident, because after I moved to Las Vegas, this was after I got divorced. I had just got out of jail again. I was like 70 pounds overweight. I didn't have a job. I was sleeping on a friend's couch. And I was wondering, you know, why can't I get laid? Why can't I get a girlfriend? And I had a very, you know, negative mindset. I was miserable at the time. I was suicidal. There's a bunch of old videos and blogs that they're pretty dark, right? And I ended up in the Barnes and Noble self-help section, looking up like trying to find books on relationships and understanding women. And you know, I ended up finding these books. Like one is called like The Game, Mystery Method. And I found all these books on like pickup artists, and I was like, wow, what are these guys doing? Like they have the secrets of how to meet women and change your life. Well, I ended up reading like hundreds of books, and I went out and I tried the techniques, and I found out which worked for me and which didn't. And I started getting results with women. And literally like within a couple months, I'd gone from like having no sex life to laying like over 40 women at the time. And I was starting to post all these pictures on MySpace of me with all these chicks, and guys were like, wow, how are you getting all these girls, man? And I was like, I found this thing called the seduction community with all these guys that trade secrets about how to meet women and get their phone numbers and get dates. And then people were like, oh man, teach me. So I decided to start making little PowerPoint presentations, and then I just started teaching it in my house. And that's what led me to creating the Las Vegas Lair. And soon I ended up with like over 200 different students that I was teaching pickup to, upping, like at the time I was charging like $250 for a day. And now I could charge like $1,000 for 4 hours or $2,000 for 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever. And basically like as a day rate.
Is the end goal, I guess it really depends on your client's goals, but is it just seems like I'm sensing the end state, the desired end goal is to sleep with as many women as possible. Is that true, or what is the actual desired outcome?
That depends on the client, really. So yeah, generally there's like 3 types of clients. Technically there's like 5, but there's a guy that maybe he just wants to sleep with lots of women. He just wants to improve the quality of his dating life. There's the guy who wants a girlfriend or wife. And then there's a guy who maybe he already has a girlfriend, but he just wants to develop more confidence in social situations and just be able to know how to approach people and talk to them without like being a weirdo.
So what is Ryan Jaunzemis' desired end state?
Oh, right now, I have no desire for a relationship. I can't do just one girl. I get bored very easily. So my game is more like, if I feel like going out, getting laid, I could just put on a nice shirt, go to a club, do what I do, take a girl home, and then afterwards, I simply just usually tell them like, hey, I got to work in the morning, so you can't spend the night. She leaves, and then generally I just don't call them back. I call it like soft ghosting. So it's not like, you don't have to be a dick about it. You could just be like, yeah, I'm not looking for anything exclusive right now. I'm just having fun. I'm just casually dating. And, you know, and then she calls back, hey, what are you doing? You can just be like, oh, I have work. You know, I'll call you later.
Okay, so we have a couple questions in the comments here. Ask him if he has a secret stash of soap plates. Do you have a secret? Are you hoarding soap plates?
Yes, I have a closet with some soap plates. I got the original UHFs. I got some BBKs. I have some stash plates.
Sean Michelson asks, has he ever thought about releasing his own soap-style shoe company? The patent is now expired.
Absolutely not. I am okay. So a lot of people will ask that, like, how come you don't make your own soaps or something like that? So, one is a desk job. One is an athletic job. Like, one would be sitting at a desk and making blueprints, trying to fill orders and make shoes and patents. The other is like being a poster boy, like actually going out, doing the grinds, having people take pictures of you, videos. It's like two completely different things. And this, I have no desire to do that. Like, I don't know who made Epic Grind Shoes, but you don't see them on the poster of Epic Grind Shoes. You see like, you're gonna see like Air Dolphin or something, right? There's like people that are athletic, and then there's people in an office.
And Eliphas here mentioned, I mean, basically, would you ever be open to doing some kind of deal, sponsorship deal with Epic Grind Shoes if it came down to it?
As far as I know, Air Dolphin sent them a message and said, what's up with my boy fucking Ryan Jaunzemis? Like, why don't you shoot him a pair of Epic Grind Shoes? And as far as I heard, their quote was like, "Oh, soap shoes are in the past. Epic Grind Shoes is the future." So I think that was them saying, "No, like fuck you, Ryan. We're not giving you some Epic Grind Shoes." I was excited at first, and then after that, I was kind of like, "All right, never mind. Like, it's good. I'm cool. I'll just keep doing my thing."
We have another question. So that shirt, I'm trying to find the shirt right now, but there's that shirt that has the few different symbols on it. Can you help us? I'm gonna try to find the picture here.
So you guys, okay, you were this close. You know that game of like, okay, you're getting warmer, oh, you're getting hot, right under your nose. You were right there. ESP, you were very close. So that one's called the Soap Shoes Methodology shirt. And the inside joke, you have to go all the way back to the original Ghostbusters Part 1. Okay. And at the very beginning, Bill Murray, Peter Venkman is like, he has the ESP cards, and he's telling the girl, what is it? And she's like, oh, 3 wavy lines, a plus sign, a circle. And so they changed the circle into the soap sign. And the joke was because he was trying to get the girl by making her seem like she was an ESP expert, and then he was buzzing the guy, giving him the electric shock.
Got it. Okay.
So that's actually where that's from. Soap's official view was that walking down the street shouldn't be considered a sport. They were like, oh, you're just walking from point A to point B, which was one of the biggest arguments, because I was like, if you look up what sport is in the dictionary, it's like something competitive, something that's physically, I can't find the word right now, like you're physically doing, and there was fierce competition on the street, who could grind the rail, who's going to be like, who's going to get their place in the next video. But Soap was kind of like, no, it's not a sport. It's just walking down the street. I was like, you should be selling these at fucking Toys R Us. Like, I could have turned his $20 million. I could have turned his $20 million into $200 million with my business plan. And he was like, no, we just want to keep it chill. So that's why I said we kept butting heads, because I was like, you have this product that could literally explode and make you a shit ton of money, and you're just going to try to like make a little bit, get your 20 million and leave.
How often do you currently soap? Says Tree Rudolph.
This last year, I barely left the house because I spent all of 2022 from January until this January writing that How to Pick Up Women book.
Right.
And so like, this is actually one of the first days I've just gone outside since like last year.
Did you have a favorite skater when you were younger, or one that you looked up to?
Dustin Latimer. Pretty dope. John Julio. Oh, let's take it way back. I met Roadhouse one time, who was actually like, we were at I don't know, Ethel Dwyer Middle School, I think in Huntington Beach or somewhere thereabouts. And actually, he's the one who I was like, how much does Senate pay you? And he's like, 6 figures. And that's what I don't know if that's true, but at the time I got so triggered because I was like, wait, these guys are making 6 figures. We're doing the same shit just on shoes. Like, and when I went to Chris Morris, I was like, we should be getting 6 figures. And he was like, yeah, right. Like, you guys are lucky you're getting your, $1,000 a day. And I'm like, I don't know. It was another thing that pissed me off. But who else? Jay Dick, who was sponsored by Hardline. He always used to wear. There's this movie called Quest for the Holy Grail, and he unities an escalator. If
there's anything that Ryan could change over the years, if there's anything you could have done differently, what is it?
I'm actually living my dream life. I don't really have any regrets. I made some mistakes along the way, definitely, but they all led me to where I'm at now, which is like doing whatever the fuck I want and when I want with whoever I want. And that's like really the lifestyle I want to lead. Most of the time, I wake up without an alarm clock. I've got money coming in from selling a lot of different products. I have my own business. I have my other in production and theatrics. And most of the time, I just wake up whenever I feel like it and do whatever I want. Like, what do I feel like doing today? Oh, I want to get tea and I want to wear a fucking beret and go to the Paris and try to pick up some hot French girls. I don't know. Like, that's just doing whatever the fuck I want.
Got it. Okay, got it. And then I lied. Last actual question here with your, is it Russian music video that you made here? What was the inspiration for that? And can you talk to us about a little bit about the maybe behind the scenes on the music video?
Oh, I made that in my living room, actually.
Okay.
I've been studying Russian for about a year and a half. And it was something I started doing during the pandemic when I got bored. And I was like, because I had been wanting to, I got to be Mr. International, women like a guy who's cultured, who can speak foreign languages, who can cook exotic cuisines, who lives an interesting lifestyle. And so anyway, I started learning Russian, and that's actually become part of my pickup routine. For example, let's say I'm sitting in a location where there's like a bench and I'm reading a Russian for Dummies book, and a girl may be like, "Hey, what are you reading?" I'm like, "Oh, Russian for Dummies." "Oh, are you Russian?" You speak. It just starts a conversation. It's so random and so interesting. And from there, then I have my own little routine to basically lead me to getting her phone number and getting a date.
Got it.
But also, like for the other night, there was a girl. I was driving back home from the club, and it was funny because I throw this into my pickup. It's called like a Sarge. Anyway, so I'm driving from the club, and my buddy calls, and I pick up the phone. Like, "Привет," and I speak just a little bit in Russian, and then I hang up, and the girl's like, "What language are you speaking? Like, what's going on?" Like, totally like just drew her attention, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I speak a couple different languages." And then she was just like blown away, like, "What? Like, who is this guy?" Like, it's just something kind of it's good material to just throw into your game,
I get it. No, thank you for that explanation there. I really dig the white fur coat, the furred coat you got on in the video too, man. Cool,
oh,
man.
that coat? Yeah.
Yeah, the coat looks fresh. Hey,
Yeah,
well, cool, man. Ryan, dude, thanks so much for coming on. I got to shout out my boy Mike McFly here. He's the reason. He was actually originally brought you to my attention and kind of inspired this interview. So, shout out Mike McFly. He has a wonderful YouTube channel with rollerblading and other like throwback stuff. So he's my homie. So,
Hey,
well,
thanks,
cool, man.
Mike. Appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, thank you so much for jumping on and sharing kind of your story with us. And I will plug your stuff in the description below. Is there any last thing you want to leave our viewers with or anything like that? Words of sage wisdom.
Yes. You were asking about this, right?
Oh, shit. Yeah.
The toe drag.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So in rollerblades, you would have a wheel, but since it's soaps and you're gliding on the toe, that trick is called a drag queen.
Oh,
right? A drag queen. And then if you flip it like this and you drag the heel, that's called a drag king.
Got it.
But other than that, most of the tricks are about the same. I think you were asking about like the far side acid sidewalk and the far side sidewalk sole, and those are the ones where it's on the shin.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man.
Like,
I'm so glad. I'm so ecstatic that you brought this up because it was going to haunt me later tonight when I try to sleep that I didn't ask those questions.
Then my favorite trick is a backside unity because I think it's smooth. And I don't know why he put Savannah, and I don't know why he spelled it wrong. I had nothing to do with that.
Got it. Well, thank you for clearing that up.
But other than that, yeah. Hey, thanks. I had a good time. And I hope I sent you a copy of the book, man. Hope you dig it.
Yeah, dude. Thanks so much for coming on. And we will, again, I'll link to everything of yours down in the description below if people want to check you out. And have a good one, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. See you on the next one. Later.
There you go. Interview with Ryan Jaunzemis.